Hello and welcome to Computer Lab Hijinks, a show about games, old software, and web ephemera. I'm Nathan.
This is Will Rance, back in it.
Back in it. All right, and today we're going to talk about YetiCon. Will, what do you know about it, if anything?
I have actually never attended, but
There we go.
It's always seemed fun. Like when I was in university and part of my anime club and everything, I knew like a few people who went around the con scene. So they've been to like plenty of places. For me, it's just been like Anime North and Fan Expo a few times. I've been to Blue Mountain before, and I thought it's like a really cool resort. It feels like this whole little like village kind of deal, and there's like all these shops and things to explore. So like,
yeah, it's a good time. So Blue Mountain's a ski resort in southern Ontario. And then in the summer, they just have other activities there. You can go hiking. You can bring a bicycle and go bicycling around is how I'm going to refer to BMX. So YetiCon's a fairly recent con. It started in either 2015 or 2016. I think 2016, but the website was a little vague. I want to say it's a bit of like an upscale. Like there's definitely an economic barrier to entry, like to get to Blue Mountain, because you can't take a bus there. You have to drive up there. I will say it's a nice drive. You get to see a lot of cool stuff. That's actually one of my notes here. The drive up, gorgeous. So you know this is a really in-depth episode. Here's a quick montage of what I saw. Roll the clip. Some of the cosplays I saw, Dreamcast VMU. Someone was dressed as the Crazy Taxi 2 specific Dreamcast VMU, which I thought was quite cool.
what is a VMU actually?
Oh, it's like the memory card that goes in the controller, but it has a screen.
Oh, that section. Yeah.
Visual memory unit. Will doesn't know. You're not a Dreamcast guy.
I respect it now, but when it was around my time, I was too young and too uninformed. I was a filthy casual PS2 player.
A deeply ignorant man on all issues, Sega.
Yeah.
And you're the reason it failed, I suspect. I got a photo with the YetiCon Yeti, so that was a pretty good time. Ooh. Also, I saw, for the first time in my life, two people were cosplaying as characters from Chrono Cross.
Beauty.
A game I like a lot, and I'm not afraid to say on the air. I'm willing to say it out loud. I don't know what the characters are named. It's a game I like a lot. In my defense, there's like 500 characters in that game.
That's not
valid.
true,
There's a lot.
Yeah. Okay, I want to get into this a little more.
Let's get into it.
Okay, I have a history with this guy. I like to think the way we conduct ourselves and how we represent our tastes is like very different. When I give recommendations, I always feel like almost like ashamed, or like I don't trust people will actually listen to what I say. So I'm like, this is, my favorite anime, check it out. And people will be like, oh yeah, cool. And then never do it. This man speaks with so much temerity and audacity. He's like, all right, the best thing ever.
The best game ever,
He's able to sell something like so well that historically, growing up in high school, I would trust this guy with any of his takes. And then he would tell me like some wild shit like Final Fantasy IX is one of... You said it was like one of two games that knew how to tell a story.
I did say that.
Something like that. And I was like, holy shit. I guess like if he's this serious, I got to play Final Fantasy IX. And then I played Final Fantasy IX. I tried to talk to him about like a few years later, and he's like, oh, I haven't finished the game. And I was so devastated. This fucking guy.
Okay, I officially retract saying that no other games tell good stories. However, in my defense, that whole decade that we were in middle school, high school, like every game was a Gulf War simulator. And I just felt like that was a terrible time for pop culture. I'm talking about Call of Duty. I'm talking about Family Guy, Black Eyed Peas, garbage decade all around. We lived in just a cultural vacuum of awfulness. And I feel like, when you're getting excited about Gran Turismo 5, something's gone horribly wrong. I'm just being mean about good games for no reason. Anyway, those devious hot takes out of the way. So I've never beat Chrono Cross or Final Fantasy IX, two of my favorite games. And that's deeply unfortunate. I still have a middle school yearbook where someone signed it like, you're never going to beat Final Fantasy IX.
Wow.
Have a terrible summer.
You got to prove them wrong.
Yeah, I don't think I will at this point. I'm like a third of the way through life generously. And like, all of which to say, very, very skillful, very well done Chrono Cross cosplays. And apologies to the cosplayers, because I said, oh, I love that game. And that's maybe a half truth. I do love the game, but I don't know that much about it. I know it's an RPG.
Yeah.
Anyway, So those are the cosplays we saw. And I decided, a game I have beaten, a game I do know a lot about, and I'm willing to say on the record I'm a fan, Quest 64. I was on the hunt for Quest 64 content.
Beauty.
And this is where the journey took me. Roll the clip. We have here a chocobo from any number of Final Fantasy games, including 7, 9, others probably, and it's a great creature from a great series. Sadly, not a whole lot of imagery from Quest 64 here this weekend. You know, Keltland, Brian going on the quest for the L-Tail book to find his father who is missing. There's no models of Boyle Hole or Cull Hazard, you know, places that live in the hearts and minds of certainly hundreds of people worldwide, but you won't find that here, and I think that's just a real shame. And that was the clip.
That changed my life.
Change your life.
And all of these 5 seconds that I turned to the camera and was like, wow, I have not seen this footage yet. I'm imagining it all right now.
I didn't find any art for sale on Quest 64.
Ooh.
We live in difficult times in that sense. But I commissioned, there were people doing commissions. And so at Silly Art Collector, I really love their visual style. And so we have officially one of certainly less than 100 pieces of Quest 64 fan art. This is Brian from Quest 64.
Gorgeous.
So yeah, by at Silly Art Collector. What else did we see? Okay, can I just say, not to be a hater, what's up with the anime cars? What is happening? I know I keep making fun of them. I know there's skill involved. People are allowed to like cars.
Yeah.
I am going to make fun of it, but people are allowed to enjoy things. What's going on with anime cars?
I think there's just kind of the intersection of gearheads and people who are like really into cars. And I feel like that kind of car culture has this niche that has some maybe easy crossover with anime, which is especially now getting more and more popular and mainstream and everything.
I do think it's funny when old man shit, especially old white man shit, gets crossover with really intricate fandom. And it makes me think of like Letterman having Hatsune Miku on as a guest. And just in his old man voice, like, Hatsune Miku.
Hatsune Miku.
Oh boy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, making her network television debut, Hatsune Miku.
That's a classic television moment, I think, right up there with any number of things. So anime cars, one of my notes just says the trails. I went on one trail. Yeah, it's interesting. You get to see a lot of cool nature stuff while there's an anime convention. I think perhaps you know this, but not all the viewers might. I don't really do anything at anime conventions. Like I don't really go to panels or screenings. I just sort of walk around and then go to Harvey's. Like that's it. And like YetiCon is just that. And there is programming, to be clear. I was like, I just want to be here among people who are doing fandom stuff, cosplays, and just soaking in the fandom vibes. And YetiCon, I would say the convention was like a third of the population of the people there. There were just other people who were like really confused as to what was happening.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if someone's never engaged with fandom and they're just at a ski resort and a furry shows up, I mean, I have immense respect for furries. And I can also understand why if someone's just there to like hike the trails or do some BMX, they're like, what is happening? Yeah. So a lot of confused looks. That was a good time. We're going to end this episode on a montage of the birds that we saw at YetiCon. There's some seagulls, some grackles, some other birds that I don't know the names of. Robins, perhaps? Only time will tell, but we're always here for the grackles. Anyway, for Computer Lab Hijinks, I'm Nathan.
And I'm Will Grackle Rants.
There we
Will
go.
Grants.
The common grackle himself, telling you to keep your files safe, keep your passwords managed, and for goodness sake, don't click on any strange links. Check out some birds.